in a world where power defines your worth, one man stood above all others, King Gray, the most feared name on the continent. He wasn't born into greatness. He clawed his way to the top, through blood, through war, through sacrifice. Every step he took left corpses behind. Every throne he conquered came at the cost of his humanity. He became a weapon, not a man, a legend made of steel and silence. Armies obeyed without question. His enemies surrendered without a fight. But power like that always comes with a price. And for King Gray, that price was everything. He had no friends, no family, no one who truly knew him, surrounded by soldiers and advisors, yet completely alone. He didn't sleep peacefully. He didn't eat joyfully. He ruled like a god, but lived like a prisoner. And when death came, it wasn't in a glorious final battle. No fanfare, no rebellion, just a dagger. In the dark, betrayal, quiet, surgical, final. The world lost a king, but he didn't lose everything because fate had other plans. He opened his eyes again, but he wasn't in a castle. No throne, no crown, just two unfamiliar faces, a man and a woman, smiling, crying, holding him, calling him something new, Arthur. He was a baby in a world that was entirely different. New skies, new energy, and something strange in the air. Something he couldn't explain yet. Mana, a force his old world had never known. His body was weak, but his mind, it was still a weapon. The man who had once ruled the world was now crawling on the floor, but even then, he was learning, studying speech, movement, patterns. He memorized the names of objects before he could speak them. He understood adult behavior before he could walk. And more than anything, he felt the mana flowing in the atmosphere, inside people, inside himself. He didn't just want to live this life. He wanted to master it. Arthur Leywin wasn't just reborn. He was evolving. Life as Arthur moved quickly. Within his first few years, he was walking, talking, reading, faster than any child should. His parents were proud. They thought he was gifted. But Arthur knew the truth. His advantage wasn't talent. It was experience. One day he felt it. Not emotion, not instinct. Mana, flowing like a quiet current beneath the surface of the world. A force more powerful than anything in his old life. And from that moment forward, he didn't just want to understand it. He wanted to control it. Arthur began testing himself in secret. He meditated. He pushed his senses to their limit, not because someone told him to, but because this world had rules, and he wanted to break them. While other children were playing, he was evolving. He tried channeling mana into his limbs, into his breath. He failed over and over, but he kept going because failure was something King Gray had learned to conquer. And now Arthur Leywin was doing the same, with far more to gain. Despite his goals, Arthur wasn't alone in this life. His mother, Alice, his father, Reynolds, they weren't nobles, they weren't mages, but they loved him purely, fiercely, and for the first time in either life, Arthur felt what family actually meant. They taught him how to be kind, how to be patient, how to be human. He didn't just learn magic, he learned love, and that made him stronger than any king had ever been. As the years passed, one truth became clear. This world was dangerous, And mana wasn't just a tool, it was survival. Arthur's path had only just begun, but he had already stepped far ahead of anyone his age. He wasn't just learning how to live. He was preparing to become something far more, a protector, a warrior, and eventually, a legend. Arthur's control over mana wasn't just talent. It was built through relentless practice, meditation, breathing, channeling, over and over. Slowly, his body began to adapt. He could feel energy gather in his core, not magic yet, but the beginning of something far greater, the foundation of a mage. While other children played, Arthur forged a path that few would even survive. His mother noticed his curiosity. His father saw his strength. They began teaching him the basics of self-defense, movements, footing, control. And though they didn't realize it, they were training the future protector of an entire continent. It wasn't long before Arthur's instincts were put to the test. On a simple trip outside the village, a mana beast appeared. A creature unlike anything from his past life. Massive, predatory, unnatural. And in that moment, something clicked. He didn't freeze. He analyzed, reacted, moved. He didn't have magic yet, but he had experience, and that was enough to survive. He distracted the beast, drew its attention, bought time for his family, and in doing so, he proved that even as a child, he was already more than human. After the encounter, nothing was the same. His parents realized Arthur was different, but they didn't understand how different. He began pushing harder. His training intensified. He didn't just want to be strong, he wanted to protect. The fear in his mother's eyes, the weight in his father's voice, it lit a fire inside him. Arthur wasn't fighting for himself anymore. He was fighting for something bigger, a future that no one else could see yet, but one he knew was coming. He'd seen power, he'd ruled kingdoms, but in this life, he was going to build something worth protecting. Time passed. Arthur continued to grow, in strength, in control, in purpose, but he knew this peace wouldn't last. The world was too big, too dangerous, and he was meant for something greater than this quiet village. A path had begun to form. A path that would take him far from home, into the heart of mana itself, into danger, into war, into destiny. He had lived one life as a king. He was now living a second as a son, a brother, a warrior, and soon the world would know his name again. Arthur Leywin, but this time, he wouldn't be feared. He would be followed.